morning vlog. It's 4:23 in the morning. I've been stuck in the Chicago airport since like 8 p.m. basically. So I'm trying to I finished finals. I finished my finals for the first semester of senior year, and I'm just trying to fly home. I had flights from Dayton to Chicago and Chicago to Orange County. Great. Um, and I remembered when I checked in that I only had a 52-minute layover in Chicago. And I was like, oh shoot, that's going to be tight. But you know what? It'll be fine. I've had layovers like that before. It's fine. So I am checking my flights. I get to Dayton Airport. I get all through security. Everything's looking fine. Everything says it's on time. And then they we get on the plane, and everyone's all boarded, and then they're oh, the air traffic control is saying that because of fog in Chicago, we can't take off right now. Or basically, sorry about all the noise. I'm in an airport. I can't control the noise. I tried to find a quieter spot, but it's not very quiet. Um, and so they're oh, you can't take off for an hour and a half because at the moment it was clear in Chicago, but that meant that if we left now, then all the flights that had been delayed coming out of Chicago or into Chicago or whatever would suddenly not be would suddenly be going in and out, and so it'd basically be one big traffic jam. So they're wait an hour and a half. And so we're okay. And the captain's oh, we're gonna have you stay on the plane so that in case they release us early, we can be ready to go rather than letting you guys deplane and go hang out in the terminal. So we're just sitting there. The lady next to me was nice, but she couldn't handle sitting still, and so we talked, and it was cool. But yeah. And so I realized, oh shoot, I'm not gonna make my connection. But then they said, oh, and if you have a connection, it'll probably be fine because a lot of the connections are being delayed. But I knew that my flight that I was on was gonna be the last flight into John Wayne, Orange County Airport, and that airport has a curfew. And so I was okay, I know that if it does get delayed and it is scheduled to come in after the curfew, then they will just reroute it to LAX and then have you take a shuttle down, because I think that's happened to my dad before. There we go. So I'm well shoot, worst comes to worst, that'll happen. If the connection is delayed, oh well. And so we get up in the air, and I keep I get on the Wi-Fi, I'm refreshing the app on my phone, and my connection is never saying that it's delayed. It's still just on time. And so we're flying over, and then it's getting kind of cutting it closer and closer. I'm just oh no, this isn't happening. And at some point during the flight, I got the notification of oh, you can reschedule your flight because of a conflict of whatever. So I'm okay. And so I go to look for flights, but I didn't want to switch my flight right then. I wanted to get off the plane and see if when we landed, if there would possibly be enough time for me to sprint to the gate. But then we landed, and my connection took off 4 minutes before we landed. So big bummer. And then we were taxiing for a long time, and so we were just still out on the runway for quite a while. And eventually we get in, and it's 8 o'clock at this point, and I think my flight had taken off at 7:37. So I'm well, okay. And I go to rebook my flight on my app, and it had automatically rebooked me for like the next available one to the airport, out to Orange County Airport. And I'm just like, I, and it would get me there. It would take me through San Francisco, so I'd have to have a layover there, and then I would also, and I wouldn't get there until like almost 6 o'clock the next day, today, Saturday, I think. Um, and I was like, well, I don't want to do that. And when I had been like checking the connections and stuff, I'm like, oh, there's like a few to LAX and San Diego that I'll get in earlier than the John Wayne one. So I'm like, yeah, I'll like do one of those. But when I went to rebook, I couldn't like rebook myself because they haven't automatically rebooked me. So I'm like, oh, great. So I had to go like find the customer service desk, and with all the flights being delayed and stuff, there was just a really long line, and I had to wait for over an hour, and like they only had 2 people going, and they had like 8 computers but only 2 people on staff. I'm like, y'all should realize, like, if there's like a lot of weather delays and cancellations and missed flights and stuff, like you should probably have more than one person or more than 2 people like trying to check people in and rebook them and stuff. And by the time I got up there and moved, there was like a third person had come in, and then like a fourth person just came in like as I was at the counter. So I'm like, okay, at least the people after me got through about a little bit faster maybe. But yeah, I was there for I think close to an hour and a half, maybe just over an hour. That was a rough time, but they were able to rebook me, and they were like, oh, well, that flight that would get you to LAX at 10:30 a.m. is full, but we can put you on standby. But then there's another flight that would get you to LAX at 12:30. That you can get it. There's one spot left. And I'm like, okay, great. Can I get on standby for the early flight and get the actual ticket for the second one? They're like, yeah, no problem. Great. And then they're like, okay, well, since it was weather related, we're not putting anyone up in hotels. I'm like, understandable. Like, I didn't expect them to put me up in a hotel because there's like a lot of people and it's weather and they can't control the weather. A lot of people are like angry about that though, and I'm just like, they like literally can't control the weather. Like, sorry, but no. And yeah, and so they're like, oh, but there's gonna be cots set up in one of the terminals, or we have this like discount like code coupon for a local hotel, and you can like try to book something through that. So I'm like, all right, great. So like I take the coupon. My dad had said something about he knew of a place that was like $85 a night that was really nice despite being like a budgety hotel. And I was like, okay, that'd be good. And I like looked up the coupon, and it was for a place that would be $80 a night with the coupon. I'm just like, not much of a discount it seems. And I'm like, you know what? Like, if I'm gonna be on standby for this flight that leaves at 8 a.m., then to like get back through security, I'll have to show up at the airport at like 6 a.m. anyway. So I'm like, and at this point it was like 9:40 p.m. or something. I'm just like, for the for like less than 8 hours, like, is it really worth it to spend like $80 on a hotel room? And I was like, that means like I'd have to like leave, and I just didn't feel like doing it. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go check out this cot situation. So I went to like the gate that they said they were gonna be at, and I was like sitting there for a bit because they were like, oh, they're setting them up at 10. I'm like, I was like looking around at 10 o'clock. I'm like, I don't see these anywhere. And then like I like looked over, and they were like tucked away in this like hallway, and I like suddenly see a bunch of cots lined up, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I like walk over there. There's a lady there like giving out pillows and blankets. I'm like, sweet, okay. I get a pillow and a blanket. I put my stuff like under the cot, like get all like set up. But then I'm like, okay. And they had given me this water bottle with like different like toiletries and stuff inside, like a little toothbrush and toothpaste and mints and deodorant and stuff, which is really nice. Um, and so I was like, okay, like I want to brush my teeth, but I also hadn't had dinner yet because when I got to the airport, it was like I hadn't eaten really before I went to the airport because I was like, oh, I'm not really hungry, and then I like got to Dayton Airport, and like I could have gotten something, but I still just like wasn't hungry, so I like went on the flight, and then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna eat something when I get home because I was gonna get home at 10 p.m. California time. It's kind of late, but I'll survive till then. But then by the time I got all my things situated with getting like the new flights and stuff, like most of the restaurants like have closed or were closing, and there just like wasn't a lot going on. So I'm like, well, shoot, I guess I'm just gonna go hungry. But then I found this like little vending machine. It's called Farmer's Fridge, and they had like some vegan and moderately healthy options. So I'm just like, sweet. So I like got dinner with like a sesame cashew noodle dish and some tofu. So that was pretty good. And then I like went back to my cot, and then I like brushed my teeth. And I was like, well, shoot, I'm like still don't have all my steps for the day, but like everything's kind of dying down. And I was like, I know you're not supposed to leave your luggage alone, but like I don't want to have to haul my carry-on with me all around the airport. So I just left it under my cot and just went and walked around a lot of the airport. I like went into like different terminals and stuff and ended up getting 10,000 steps. I'm like, cool, perfect. And then like tried to like go to bed, but then there's like all kinds of people just like lined up in a row on these cots. There's like really old people who are like complaining about stuff, and there's like people who are being loud, and people who are like coughing and sick and kind of gross, and like in the hallway they never like turn the lights off or dim them even, and so it's just like full lights all the time. And so I was just like watching YouTube videos. I'm just like, I'm not really tired, like I know I should sleep. And I was like, okay, like I'll just make sure my phone is charged, and I'll have alarms for like 6:15 and 6:30, just like make sure I'm up so I can like make it to the other gate because I don't have to worry about security or anything. And then eventually around midnight, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like really try to sleep. So I like put my phone down, and I'm like not really able to fall asleep. I kind of like got some like naps, like in kind of, but then like every 15 minutes or so, it just like blares over the speakers like the warnings of like not leaving your baggage unattended, or like don't smoke, or like if you're sick, like cover your mouth when you cough and wash your hands a lot. Like I'm like, it's like 2 in the morning. Why do people need these announcements? Like it's just the same thing all the time. People know what you're talking about. And yeah, and then like this lady next to me was just like, okay, so the lady next to me, like before she like really went to bed, like she came up and she like kind of talked with me a little bit, but then when I went to like walk around, like when I came back, she was just like sitting on her bed with her eyes closed, and she was like swaying back and forth. I was like kind of questioning, is she okay? Because it looked like she was like sleeping sitting up. I'm like, are you like so old that you're scared that you like can't lay down on this cot thing? Like what? And then like the whole time that I was like there on my phone watching YouTube videos, like she was still just like sitting down. But then like once I put my phone down to like actually sleep, then she decided to like lay down. And I'm just like, okay, that was weird. So and so I was like trying to sleep and just like kind of tossing and turning a little bit, but didn't want to toss and turn too much because then it was noisy on the cot, and so it's just like didn't really sleep well. And then at like just before 4 a.m., I was like, I really need to pee. I'm like, my stuff will probably be fine if I'm here, because there were like kind of some guards around, and like the ladies just like watching out over us, like the ones who had like handed out blankets and stuff. They were just kind of like there and watching, so I was like, it's probably fine if I lose my stuff. So I just like went and like went pee, and then when I come back, the blanket and pillow is just like gone from my cot. I'm like, oh, sick. Okay. So I'm like, well, I'm just gonna try to lay down again anyway because I'm tired. Want to get like at least 2 more hours of sleep. And so like I lay down, and then suddenly this guy comes through like 4 a.m. wake up call, and I'm just like, oh, people have, that's nice, I guess, that they have a wake up call. And then he's like, no, like everybody has to get up. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like I've only been like kind of sleeping for like 3.5 hours and never even really sleeping at that point. So I'm just like, well, that's great because I had been waking up every like half hour or so, if not more often. Not a great time. Um, so I'm like, well, I have to grab my stuff and go. And so I just like hiked over to my gate to go wait on standby, and I stopped for Starbucks and got coffee. And now I'm just gonna sit here. I tried to find this like row of seats that doesn't have an armrest in it, so I'm gonna try to lay down maybe a little bit and sleep, but yeah, I don't think that's happening. So this is what it's like to spend the night in Chicago airport. Like, it's nice that they had cots. Like, I was not expecting that. I know my dad has had to like spend nights in the airport before, and they're just like, they don't have any cots usually, and you just have to like pull up on the floor somewhere. But yeah, this is like, it was like nice until I realized we couldn't get up at 4 a.m. or we had to get up at 4 a.m. And like the lady next to me, like she like opened her eyes and like saw they were doing the wake up call, and just like went back to sleep. And then the guy had to like come up and like kind of like tap on her cot to like wake her up and be like, 4 a.m. you gotta get up. And she's like, I have to get up. It's like I felt really bad because I'm like, you probably didn't sleep well and you're old and you probably need more sleep. But yeah. So now it is 4:40, and I'm gonna try to sleep more, maybe. I don't know. This has just been quite the adventure, and I just want to go home. And I'm done because I was gonna, if I had gotten back last night, I would have gone out to breakfast with my mom and my brother this morning, but I guess that's not gonna happen because I'm gonna be on a plane instead. So that's where I'm at.